Hey guys, welcome to LoudsCast with TGN.TV, and this is LoudsCast Weekly, bringing you the latest WoW news and info. So guys, let's kick things off right away here with your Blizz headlines. The winners of the Battle.net Invitational in Europe have now been announced. Link will be in the description below if you want to follow that. Okay guys, I've got some big news here, and that is going to be the main sort of focus of this show. First, patch 4.3 notes have now been released on MMO Champion. We're going to take a big look at this here, guys. So, there is going to be a new raid. Deathwing raid will be the final raid of the expansion. Already? This expansion's only been out about 6 or 7 months now. What's going on? Sorry, 7 months, a bit longer than that. About 9, but apparently we're going to already get the new raid, which will feature Deathwing. I don't know if it's going to be done like ICC, as in you'll have 4 bosses, then another 4 bosses, then it'll lead on to Deathwing or what. The notes don't really say here, however, it's looking like we're going to be going into the closing steps of Cataclysm. There will be 3 new 5-man instances which will be added in this patch. It's about time. Personally, guys, I am absolutely bored shitless of ZA, ZG, farming those up for the badges there. However, there will be 3 new instances, and I'm really looking forward to those, and when I can get onto the PTR, I will definitely be bringing you some news on them. Okay, what have we got here? Transmogrifier. Sorry for the slow sort of phrasing of that word there. Apparently there will be a Transmogrifier NPC which will allow you to change the appearance of any armor piece you have. Okay, this is going to be quite interesting. I mean, when I'm doing like arena and BGs, I can tell if a player's geared just by looking at the gear at this point, but this is going to basically give you the option to sort of stealth that, I suppose. Although you will also be able to just change the appearance of a gear piece if you don't like it. Here we go with Blizzard adding more bells and whistles to the game, or as I like to call them, little annoying apps. So that will be the Transmogrifier, which will be able to edit your appearance of your character's armor and stuff. This is good, I like this. Void Storage. The Void Storage is a new type of bank where players will be able to store their old armors in order to free up space in their regular bank. It will hold 100 to 150 items. Wow. Anything stored there will lose all gems and enchants though. Okay, right, because personally I had to roll with 3 gear sets on my main. I've got my tanking gear set, my DPS Ospec gear, and I've also got my PvP gear as well. So if I put it in there rather than my bank, all the gems and enchants are going to disappear off it. It does say old armor sets though, bear that in mind guys. So if you've got all your past tier sets and all that kind of thing, you've got a place to keep them. Although why you'd want to really keep them, I don't know. Okay, Raid Finder. The Raid Finder will be introduced in patch 4.3. It will work like the Dungeon Finder. Right, is it me or does this seem a little pointless? Most servers can't even pug raids, so what chance does your battle group have of pugging a raid successfully? I don't know. I really wish this expansion they would make their bloody mind up. They want people to be in guilds, to do guild raids and all that sort of thing, which is why we had guild perks and guild XP and guild achievements and all that kind of good stuff. And then they introduced like the Satchel of Exotic Mysteries for tanks. I know it was meant to be introduced for classes which were lowly represented in the Dungeon Finder queue, which just tends to be tanks, occasionally healers, to try and inspire people to inspire people to go and do those instances as a pug group. And now we've got this, the Raid Finder. Personally, I don't think I will ever use that, guys, to be quite honest. Like I say, it just seems that this expansion, they've just added so much fluff to the game. And what I mean by that, guys, is like the Guild Finder system, which I don't think anyone really uses, because guilds already have their own system in place, i.e. you go and apply. Then we had Dungeon Journal, where you could just go and check boss abilities and stuff. I wish, rather than doing all this, and this is stuff you can just find out yourselves through community websites, channels like TGN, we have like raid boss guides and all that kind of good stuff. And it's just like, well, why don't you actually focus on the game content, Blizzard, rather than adding all these little things which, to be quite honest, I don't think a lot of people really care about. Maybe a small percentage of your subscriber base, I don't know. To be quite honest, if all you guys who are going to be watching this video use stuff like this, please post a comment below if you do find this stuff useful. In fact, why the hell not leave me a video response, I'll actually put it up. If I see a video response to that, so that is going to be my question. Do you use the bells and whistles and stuff which Blizzard produces? And by that I mean things like the Guild Finder system, the Dungeon Journal, and all that kind of stuff. And the last thing to note here, guys, is that Darkmoon Fair, there will be a new Darkmoon Fair Island with a bunch of new activities, such as Whack-a-Knoll. Okay, so they're adding more zany quests to the game. To be honest, in 4.2, I absolutely loved the Quest with Thrall. I thought they were awesome, really well done. Nice bit of story in there and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of these sort of little zany quests that you do throughout WoW. However, if that is your thing, that is definitely going to be added into this patch, and it should be a bit of fun for you. Okay guys, we are now going to move on to your YouTube channel of the week. This is Fatboss TV, guys, and I actually really want to get this guy involved with TGN. I'm going to send him a little message and all that kind of good stuff. He does some really, really good raid guides. I normally either use TGN's raid guides, which TSW, Tally and people like that do, and for a bit of an additional information and all that kind of thing, I come here because this guy's raiding guides are fantastic. So if you're struggling on that raid boss, can't get it down, be sure to check out his channel. They're really well done. Some of the videos are even done from like 2 perspectives, so you see like the Better Light fight for example, we have 1 tank below, 1 tank up and that kind of thing. And it's really, really good. It's really well done. It's structured, all the abilities are talked about, and all that kind of thing. So definitely go check out his channel if you're a raider and want to have a quick look at that. Okay guys, I'm not actually going to do a forum fail or forum post of the week, simply because I don't have time, because I've got about 6 to 8 questions to answer in Loud's Q&A, which is what we're going to be moving on to now. Okay guys, Mans Lunsakuk, and I hope I've said that right, apologies if I have not. Hey man, love your vids, thank you very much. Just wondering, what is your favourite mount in WoW, and what is your favourite race in WoW? Good question. When it comes to vanity items in WoW, such as mounts and that kind of thing, I really don't care, to be quite honest. As long as it gets me from A to B in the quickest time possible, that's good enough for me. However, the Warbur, the new Warbur from ZA, I really like that. It's a really nice looking mount, it's cool. So that is what I'm currently rolling with, and if I had to pick a favourite, that would probably be it. As for favourite race, it depends really on what class I am playing and what I plan on doing it. I mean, I love orcs. I've always loved orcs. I was a fan of orcs since Warcraft 3, and that's what I tend to roll with. It mainly is orcs, such as my shaman is an orc. Not only do I love Orgrimmar and places like that, and the barons and stuff, it's also that, well, orcs make really good chamois. My second favourite race would be Taurens, because I love the starting Tauren zone. It's really good, it looks really peaceful and everything, and my warrior is in fact a Tauren because of the stamina buff. The ratio of the increased stamina, which is really useful for a tank. Thank you very much for the question. Moving on here, we've got Mad Max asking, LoudsCast, you've inspired me to start leveling either a warrior or a shaman, but I don't know which one, so I was hoping you can help me. So this is my question. Out of the 2 classes, warriors and shamans, which is fun and powerful? I'm asking you because you have experience with these classes. And by the way, I love you, LoudsCast. Haha, thank you very much. Difficult question to answer, really. It really does depend on what you want to do in the game. A warrior can either be a tank or a melee DPS. They've got an awesome PvP spec, which is arms, for example, so that's good. Whereas a shaman, you've either got the ability of being a ranged DPS, a melee DPS, or a healer. So it really does depend what direction you want to go in the game. What's more powerful? Well, the only real way I can answer that is in terms of melee DPS, which is a viable spec for both those 2 classes. You've got Enhancement Shaman, and you've either got Arms Warrior or Fury Warrior. Now, Enhancement Shamans are really, really good, because you get to use a mix of spells and melee damage in order to do your stuff in a raid or a dungeon, whereas a Warrior is just pure damage. You don't really use a great deal of abilities, particularly if you're Fury. However, those abilities do hit hard. So it really does depend. If you want to be a caster sort of melee class, go for an Enhancement Shaman. Whereas if you just want to hit things hard with Titan's Grip, i.e. 2 big 2-handers, which looks awesome, it always has, then go for a Fury Warrior. As for PvP on the melee classes, I'd take an Arms Warrior over an Enhancement Shaman every time. Enhancement Shamans, for me, I've done a bit of arena on my chamois now, and they just don't have the survivability. I don't know if it's just gear or what, but I just seem to die very fast, whereas on my Arms Warrior, I can actually hold my own and get a few wins with my partner. Okay, thank you very much for the question. Okay, this one comes in from John Redling, who asks, what was the best raid experience you had and why? Really good question, and I'm going to say it's actually this expansion, Bastion of Twilight. I absolutely loved it. We first stepped in there, and we were like, wow, this is actually difficult again. the game's getting good. The trash was annoying. We had to use a lot of CC on it. We then got to Healthiest Wormbreaker, and we were like, and bear in mind, guys, at this time there were very few raid guides out there. There was a couple from the beta, and it actually changed the fights a little bit as well. So we were doing Healthiest. It was tough. It was really hard. We had to actually coordinate properly on vent and all that kind of good stuff. We were trying to work out the tactics as we were doing the fight, and we got it down, and we felt really, really proud of ourselves that night we managed to get Healthiest Wormbreaker down. Rock on. So that is probably my favourite raid experience at the minute, is Bastion Twilight. Okay, this one comes in here from Phone Razor, a Burning Legion. I'd like to hear your opinion on the differences between 10 and 25-man raiding. My opinion is that 25-man is easier because it's a bigger team effort. In 10-man, if one person screws up, it's usually a wipe. But in 25-man, more people have sharing responsibilities. Also in 10-man, one person whose numbers are a bit low will hold your group up more than one person in 25-man with low numbers. Okay, I used to raid 25-man back in Wrath of the Lich King. Now I raid 10-man in Cataclysm. I kind of agree with you. However, 25-man... it is harder to coordinate. You've got a lot more people you need to coordinate. You've got a lot more people who don't want standing in the fire and all that kind of thing. It is a lot more difficult to coordinate a 25-man raid than a 10-man. However, there is more room for error. You're quite right in saying that. In fact, when we had the first tier of raiding this expansion, a lot of the hard modes, people could only do them on 25-man because there was a lot more room for error and the fights were a bit easier, in my opinion. 10-man was a lot more difficult, and because you got less people, you had to have really high DPS and all that kind of thing. And like you say, if one or two people die in a 10-man, it's normally a wipe, especially once you've used your combat res or something like that. But it is a lot easier to coordinate. That's my opinion on it. Anyway, thank you for the question. I don't know why I did that as a jingle, but why the hell not? Okay, next one here comes in from Ryujin, who says, "Hey LoudsCast, I play an Arms Warrior PvE as my main since BC all the way through Kata, and I've seen its slow rise in the DPS charts, but people still complain that me not being Fury even though I'm normally second, if not first in the DPS tables in 5-mans and in the top 5 to 10 in raids. I've tried Fury, but I find the rotation and spec boring, yet people still tell me to switch for the damage increase. Do you think I should switch or stay as I am?" Depends what you're doing. If you're in a raiding guild, and you raid regularly and that sort of thing, your guild wants you to go Fury, and the reason why is because you provide a raid buff. You provide a damage increase to everyone in your raid or party. That's basically going to be it. The only reason why you would go Fury is... the only reason you would go Fury for a raid to meet your guild's need would be for that raid buff. They're not paying for your subscription fee at the end of the day, these people. If these are just people in pug dungeons and that sort of thing, they are not paying for your subscription fee. Do what you enjoy. If you enjoy arms, play arms. I think the DPS, if you would take an evenly geared arms warrior and an evenly geared fury warrior, and both players have the same level of skill, I think the DPS numbers would be pretty much the same. That's just my thoughts on it, and I'm going to move on to the next question now. This one comes in from Vision296. Hey LoudsCast, I was just wondering, what is your favourite class stroke spec and why it is? Okay, my favourite class stroke spec is my warrior, which is a protection warrior. I've loved tanking, I've always loved tanking, and I've always been a tank. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up quite shortly, guys. Time is knocking on. Last question here. When Star Wars The Old Republic comes out, are you going to play it? And if so, are you going to stop with WoW or going to play them both, and also Diablo 3 and BF 3? That one came in from 25 Marquis. Okay, yes, I will be playing Star Wars The Old Republic. That's a given. I pre-ordered it. Not pre-ordered the Collector's Edition because I don't really care about all the additional stuff that comes with it. I want the game. At the end of the day, I just want the game. I want to play the game. So, I have got the pre-order of that, and yes, I'll be playing it. I'll probably be playing a Sith Sentinel, I believe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I haven't really looked up too much on Star Wars The Old Republic yet. Will I still be playing WoW? It really does depend. If Star Wars is better than WoW, and I'm enjoying that more, I will cancel my WoW subscription, because WoW is starting to show its day, in my opinion, and there needs to be something that's going to knock it off its high horse. Just my thoughts on it. So, yes, I'll be playing Star Wars The Old Republic, and it may possibly make me cancel my WoW subscription. Diablo 3 I'm not too fussed about, And BF3, I'm not too fussed about, to be honest, at the end of the day. I am an MMO RTS junkie, and with Star Wars coming out, that's going to be the big game I am playing. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap it up though. We've had a lot of questions this week. You guys have all been entered into the contest to win an in-game pet, which will be the last sort of episode of next week, i.e. the questions next week, and then I'll announce the winner in the show after that. If you've got a question, feel free to email me in anything you want to do with any game you want. Email address is loudscast@tgn.tv. Please don't send it to... I know before that I said send it to my personal YouTube channel, but I'm getting a lot of questions there which are nothing to do with this show. And I've got to try and pick out which ones are to do with the show and which ones are people just asking me questions in general. So LoudsCast@tgn.tv is the email address, and you will get a chance to win an in-game pet. More info on that in the description below. And I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, you've been a fantastic audience. If you're enjoying the WoW News show, click the blue link at the top to subscribe to this show. Don't forget to thumb up this video, favourite if you liked it, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!